There's the chicken. Look at this. And it's just tender. Oh my God, it's so good. All right, we've got an awesome deal here for you. We're not going to show you a recipe because the person we're doing this for is already a good cook. I'm going to assume you're a good cook as well. But if you're not, there's only very few things that you would need to cook for this meal prep. This is a meal prep so you can have breakfast bowls or lunch bowls all week and not get tired of them. Not because they're so good so you have the same one over and over again, which actually they are that good, but because you can mix and match different ways. And I'm going to talk about that mostly, okay? The important parts are to understand that you've got to have your vegetables. So here we've got salad, we've got salad greens anyways, we've got your tomatoes, cucumbers, avocado, radishes. We've also got some roast vegetables. These are yams that we roasted in the oven, and these are squashes. Swap them in for anything you want. It's important to have something like this. It adds a little bit of depth, a little bit of sweetness. You don't want to overcook it, so the fibers are there. So the fibers are really good for you. We've got a grain component that's low carb, and it's also tasty. Normally people talk about having quinoa. You can mix it with something else. There are recipes for this on our Instagram page. This is quinoa cauliflower mixed, cooked together. The two of them, you rice them separately, you cook them separately. I can't eat that as my rice replacer or grain replacer. This, my family cannot stop eating. This is really good. So we've got this. And then we've got another one. It's quinoa with steel cut oats. Okay, same thing. It tastes great. When you mix like that, it tastes great. You can take other grains and play with it as well. I encourage you to do that. All right? Now, so we've got your grains, we've got your vegetables. You can have your fruit. I would encourage you to have berries more than sugary fruit. I'm not against them, but the more sugary fruit you have, the sooner you're gonna get hungry again. The idea here is you have a wholesome meal that will take you through for a period of time that will also release the sugar slowly. So berries are good for that. Lots of nutrients in there for you. The sugar component, you want to try and have something like dates or dried prunes or something like that that has a lot of fiber. That's the same thing. It's still sugar, okay? So be careful how much you put in there, but it slows down that absorption process. I've got here, just as an example, some dried berries as well. The other really important part of this is nuts. Now the thing about nuts is, and I've got here almonds that are just raw almonds. These are all raw, and you want to soak your almonds or your nuts overnight, okay? You soak them until they get to the point where if you squeeze it, the almond flies off. You want to see that again? If you squeeze it, that's better. The almond comes off. All right, and you want to rinse the water. So I won't eat this right away, but you want to rinse this, change the water, rinse it again. I'll do that right now. And you can take all the skin off. These ones here, we bought them from a really good place. They're already soaked and lightly dehydrated. So you want to actually store them only a little bit outside, so you eat them all the time, the rest in the fridge. Okay, so we've got macadamia nuts, we've got pecans. We're going to use all three in this dish, okay, or in this meal that we're going to put together. Now, before I go ahead and do the almonds, I also want to show you, because we've got breakfast options here and we've got lunch options, okay? And one thing about lunch is that a warm component is really important. A warm, hearty component makes it a complete meal. But you don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time. One quick trick is with seafood, a lot of seafood, and I'm doing tiger prawns here today. This is right out of the freezer. What you can do is just open it up, okay? throw it in a bowl. I'm only gonna put 3 in here right now. That's fine. Put the rest for later. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put it in lukewarm water. Like actually it's almost tap cold. If you're from California, tap water is good. We're from Canada, tap water is almost freezing. So we're just gonna add a little bit of warm water to make it tepid. That, by the time we're done assembling everything else, that's gonna be ready to be cooked. And it takes just seconds to cook it on a hot plate. I'll show you that at the end. Okay, so I'll just put some water in here. All right, now we're going to rinse the almonds. All right, so I'm gonna do this in a strainer so that you can see what it looks like. Okay, you can do it also just in a bowl. I'm gonna rinse it. When you soak your nuts, and now I am gonna take the skin off and eat one, it releases its natural sweetness. So that's from a culinary point of view. But it also makes the nut more digestible for you, okay? Especially if you take the skin off. But even with the skin, once you've soaked it, it's a much healthier way to eat the nut. Okay, so you could take the skin off and put these in here. I'm gonna put a bunch of nuts in the blender, okay? Bunch of different nuts. Because it's just for one meal, I'm not going to do too many of each because you don't want to eat a whole thing of nuts like this. Good thing is, you just let this dry a little bit outside and then put it in the fridge. It'll last a couple of weeks, no problem. But you gotta let it dry a little bit outside, okay? You don't want it to be soaking wet in the fridge, okay? So, this is so much fun. I could do this all day. All right, that's enough almonds in there. We'll put a little bit of macadamia. As I said earlier, these were previously soaked and lightly dehydrated, and a little bit of pecans. I snack on these way too much, but it's better this than a chocolate bar. So good. Just gonna put this on. We're gonna pulse. I don't want this to be a mush. I just don't want it to be so big and so whole, because when you put it in a bowl and you want to eat it with other things, you want to have just a little bit in every bite. So, now there are a few big pieces still left in there, but it is now nice and beautiful. Okay, so I'll grab a spoon and spoon that out onto a bowl. Here's the trick. I'm not going to do it today because I'm trying to show you how you can make something really fast, really good. When you're on the go, when you're busy, you're trying to do things, you're gonna feed yourself good food because you should. Your body deserves it, you deserve it, your brain deserves it. But if you have the time, put that on a plate, toast it for a minute. We're already at making the bowl. This is how fast it was. We're making a lunch bowl. So we're gonna go with the quinoa cauliflower rice. I warmed this up earlier, so it's ready to go. Okay, so what I like to do actually is layer a little bit between my salad greens and the grain component. Okay, so I'll just put a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, because otherwise, you know, salad's not going to be that enticing of a meal. Let's be honest with each other, right? And then don't be shy. Put enough quinoa cauliflower rice in there that will give you the calories that you need for the day or for until the next meal. Okay, so I put one whole bowl. That was about a cup. Okay, so far it looks like this. Okay, now from here you want to arrange things. If you like poke bowls, arrange it like that. If you like salads mixed and all that, arrange it like that. If you like to have things layered and have little surprises everywhere, arrange it like that. I'm going to do it something like a poke bowl, but not too much. Okay, so a little bit of your yam. So I'm putting it on one corner, but not in one chunk that you would have in your poke bowls. And then this is your squash. This one's a spaghetti squash. Now these are kind of warm. If you want to heat it up, just throw it in the microwave, throw everything on a little plate and put it in a toaster while you're grabbing your coffee. It's all good, all right? Now, at this point in time, I want to add a little bit of the nuts component, okay? And I want to add a little bit of the flavor component. So when you make these, you tend to under season, you can put some salt and pepper at this point. I seasoned these well, so I'm just going to put a little bit of this cashew cheese, okay? Then you don't have all the sauce on top and then dry on the bottom, just drizzle it on top. We have the recipes for all of these things, how to make them, on our Instagram page, and some of them we have videos even on this page for you. Okay, so now at this point we want to put some of the fresh vegetables. Okay, so I like radishes. We're making these bowls for a person who wants to increase their grains but not the high carb ones. Okay, they're also wanting to increase their protein, so they make for muscle building, right? So we're gonna just kind of put those on one side over here, kind of like a poke bowl, and then I'm gonna do some cucumbers. They want it to be healthy, about 500 to 600 calories, and a good hearty meal. Okay, so. But also quick to make. They're busy professional. Okay, so we'll put some cucumbers in here. Don't mix everything, like these ingredients, these vegetables, don't mix it all over the place, because you want to have that choice as to when you want to eat it. You take it in and you put it in your mouth. A couple of tomatoes here. Okay. Let's put these over on this side. Such hard decisions to make. Where do I put my tomatoes? Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do with this? All right. Is this hard or what? You need a PhD to be able to do this. Not. All right. What about some avocados? Let's put, I like to cut my avocados just as I need it, and then just take the peel off like this. Okay, this allows me to leave the rest as much as possible without going back, and use what I like. Cutting things on a diagonal is my favorite thing to do. All right, avocados go over here. Beautiful. This is what it looks like so far. And we're not even done yet. Okay, so we've done some nuts, we've done all the veggies and all that stuff. And we'll put some berries at the end on top. What I like to do is put a little bit of salad in the middle. And then we'll put our prawns over here and maybe dress it a little bit with the other stuff. So I guess we're at making the prawns time. This goes really fast. So let's turn this up. I'm going to turn this up high to start with, just to start to melt the oil. This is just coconut oil. Okay, about a tablespoon. And prawns cook really fast, so you want to actually get them into a bowl and marinate them. I'm going to use this bowl here. They're almost there. Let me show you. I dumped the water just so that I wouldn't spill it everywhere. Last thing we want is prawn water all over our beautiful food, right? But you can see it's all now nice and soft. Maybe a little bit frozen on a little bit of this. All I'm going to do is run it under water again and it's done. You can cook it with the shell on, but it's a little slower. I'm going to cook it without the shell. I'll show you that in a sec. Okay, so an important thing about cooking prawns is that you don't want to do it on high heat. Okay, most seafood in fact. Unless they're thin enough that you're going to cook it really fast, one side, the other side, and it's done. Okay, this prawn won't cook that fast on high heat, and you're gonna make it way too tough to do that. So I just turned that down. Now these ones have been deveined, so you just take it from the back and you just squeeze the tail, and it comes right up. If they were not deveined, you just start to break it apart from where the legs are. And the same thing again. Very quick, very easy. You can do hundreds of these a day if you work in a restaurant. Okay, so you want to season this before it goes into the oil. You want it salt. It's from the sea, it loves salt. Okay, add a little bit of pepper. Okay, lemon juice, okay, and you can use garlic or leeks. I'm going to use leeks here today, okay. Let's put that over there, and I'm going to make it small because you don't want to see the leeks necessarily in big pieces in what you're eating, okay, and that's enough. Get rid of the big pieces. Okay. Mix that up. Make sure the prawns have all the flavors right on there. And then place the prawns to cook. Use a little bit higher. Okay. If you love to have stuff like that, you can add it in later and make a sauce. For this one, we don't need to do that. I'm just going to put it away. Wash your hands. Grab my tongs. Notice how on the sides it's starting to get pink. That's what you want to see. Once it starts, the pink starts to come through, we're going to flip it, and the other side gets pink, and that's it. We're done. No more work. Okay. See how it's starting to get pink on that side? Same with that one. Oh my gosh, prawns are ready. Just take a sip of water. Don't pay attention to the prawns, and they're ready. That means we're ready to eat. Okay. I'm gonna put the prawns right in there. Oh, it smells so good. I should have made more prawns. This smells way too good. Alright. Let's not think about prawns. Prawns! No prawns. Prawns! A little bit of nuts on top. Okay. Now, if you want to add your other kinds of dressing, if you want to add your seaweed and sesame seeds and all those other good stuff, please do so. Those are awesome. What I wanted to show you is that the simplest thing is still very good, very yummy, and you can enjoy it. You're just going to drizzle a little bit more of this dressing right on top, like this. Voila. Okay. There you go. And oh, I'm hungry. Let's eat. All right. Thank you for joining us on Samant's Cuisine today, where we engineer happy diets and flavors that cure. See you next time.